Hello, welcome back. It is your boy Jarod and your girl Gabby, episode 99.
How did we get here, Jay?
I don't know. Through luck, perseverance, sleepless nights. No, consistency. No. We're
Dad
approaching.
Jokes?
I mean, you are dad jokes
Sneakers and dad
always
jokes.
because you are here with that. No, we're so happy to be coming at you guys with episode 99, and episode 100 is coming soon. We're gonna do something special for episode 101 because 100 is not really gonna work. We're trying to be ironical. That's not really a word. And by the way, before we even get into something, not only is ironical not a word, not everyone. Most people who use irony or the term ironic in the English language use it incorrectly, right? Like they
Isn't
very
that
much
ironic, Jarod?
well, there we go, right?
Too ironic. I mean, I really do think.
and of course, I blame the wonderfully talented Alanis Morissette for doing this, right? Because "Rain on Your Wedding Day" is not ironic. That just sucks.
It sucks.
That's just unfortunate.
But you don't want it, right?
Right. That's not irony, right? Irony is a specific literary device, right? Like it has nothing to do with spoons when you're looking for knives. No.
Literally thinking that in my head. I was like 10,000 spoons. I mean, I'm meeting the man of my dreams and meeting his beautiful wife. That's not ironic.
That just sucks. Yeah, that just sucks. Well, wait. Meeting the man of my dreams and meeting his beautiful wife, like, especially if you didn't know he had a wife, that's when it's like,
yeah, hopefully there was no other involvement there. I mean, I want to know more about that story, Alanis. Like, I feel like this song should be either retitled "Doesn't It Suck" or "Mercury in Retrograde." So.
Anyway, Gabby, what is going on in those streets?
Jarod, there is a lot going on in these sneaker streets. Your girl's back in LA.
Mm-hmm. I feel like
Uncut Jams.
Right.
Yeah.
Uncut Jams.
Right.
Uncut Jams.
Right.
Was that retrograde? Like, what just happened there? Uncut Jams. That wasn't me, you guys. That was actually a sound. Might have been practicing. Uncut Jams.
That was actually Julia Fox saying Uncut Jams.
I feel like that was like a motherfucking remix, though. They just played 6 times. Uncut Jams.
Oh my God. Well, I was inspired to find it because you loved it so much. And I was like, well, let me do something nice for Gabby and try to actually find the soundbite. So I did find it. And I, actually had to cut it because it was part of like the 5 minute, the 5 minute clip of her That All Night podcast show came up. And I was like, we don't need the whole 5 minutes. Let me just cut out this. It would have been helpful if they had it as separate audio tracks so I can just get her saying Uncut Gems instead of the host saying right over the end. But, beggars can't be choosers, as they say.
I know. I mean, I love to hate it, hate to love it. But very happy to be back in LA. We have a lot of exciting things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like SneakerCon LA. I mean, I think, this is going to be really interesting because it's the first time in a few years they've done a big market. This was supposed to be last year. It got pushed to this year. Really curious, like all the people that are going to be showing up. I think brands are going to start having a larger presence now that like these are back on the radar. I've also seen a lot around the conversation of legit checks and authenticity. So I think even just that process and like sneakers and inventory and all that good stuff is even more important now because people are starting to wear their kicks, right? Like that's what it's about. Like I already know what pair of sneakers I'm wearing for the first day, but for day 2, I'm like, maybe I'll get real wild and buy something.
Will the patent breads be making an appearance at SneakerCon LA?
So I thought about it, and like my rotation is very small in LA currently. I only have 4 or 5 pairs here, which for those who are not sneaker collectors, I'm sorry but that is small compared to
the
years and years of collection I've been doing. So, and I also want to say that like this is not meant to be a comparison or a flex or anything like that. I don't like checking bags when I fly if I don't have to. So I try to keep a couple pairs out here whenever I come back and forth. So patent breads were like a maybe. I think right now my front runner because I got these on eBay during the drop that they did for Women's History Month. Mm-hmm. So, I love an ambush dunk. That's one of my favorite silhouettes. I also love a dunk. I love a female designer. It's like all the things. And I also wear a lot of black. Like me wearing this camo jacket today is like, oh shit, I'm wearing a lot of color. So I'm going to be rocking the Bolt colorway.
All right.
That I
like
got on eBay. Super excited. I'm like debating leaving on the authenticity guarantee NFC tag because, a lot of fake shit in these streets.
A lot of fake stuff.
You see those on My Feet in the Streets, you guys, over the weekend. We will be there on behalf of KNS, but really excited because it's the first 2-day one in a while. I mean,
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
guys know, and Jay, I was in Atlanta on National Sneaker Day for SneakerCon, but
Yep.
I think this one's going to be a whole different mood, especially it being in
Yep.
LA. It's 2 days, like
LA,
a
different vibe, no doubt.
whole different vibe. So I'm really excited to see it, to be there on behalf of our show. Hopefully we'll have some fun things to report back next week. But yeah, how about you, Jarod? How's your playoff streaks going?
Oh, playoff streaks are going well, man. We out here, some upsets. The Phoenix Suns get taken down by the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic. You get to see what happens when, whenever you have the best player in the series, you always have a chance to win, right? Regardless of what the other team does. And, Luka really put that on and did his thing. So, I'm excited to see these conference finals matchup and where they go. I think both series are going to go long. So it'll be really, really interesting to see the adjustments and the matches being made. It's also like, conference finals time, Gabby, always reminds me of like, basketball season coming to an end. Summer's here, right? Like that's how, because, when you're deep in the NBA like me and you're on League Pass every night, it's like, it's the middle of winter. And when when you're just like, damn, conference finals, I mean, summertime's here, right? So we're going to be devoid of basketball soon, which is fine. We all need a break, time to be
We're not
outside in the
devoid of
summer.
basketball. I do want
Well,
to clarify.
yes, correct. Not devoid of basketball, devoid of NBA basketball. And be very specific about that. Not devoid of basketball, devoid of NBA basketball. We will talk about the W a little bit later. But yeah, so it'll just be, it'll be nice to see this NBA season come to a close, who the new champions are going to be crowned and all that. And otherwise, I'm getting excited for the summertime, trying to figure out what kind of beaches I'm going to be hitting up, not with my sneakers, because ain't nobody wearing no kicks on the sand in the beach. Thank you very much.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, and I think, the playoffs this year, and this is what's great about playoff basketball and about playoff hockey. It's like, I feel like this year it's controlled by Buffalo Wild Wings. The overtimes, the crazy plays, like all these like twists and turns.
Game
like,
sevens,
greatest story ever told, right? Like it is. It's like the game 7 is the theme, and like all this trolling, all these like ups and downs. I mean, I think Luka so savage, being like, yeah, I already know I got more than the whole team in the first half on game 7. Like, I love the level of competitiveness, and I like that the NBA has fun with it, just as a league. And I think that's something that like not every league has from a personality standpoint. So this is one of my favorite times of year. I don't feel like it's summer yet until it's over, and then it's WNBA season in full force. So
sports remains, Gabby, still the best reality show going, right? Because we don't know what the outcome is, right? As much as you think you may know and you prognosticate and you whatever, right? Wild stuff happens, and it is what it is, right? That's what one of the major factors in making sports so compelling is that you do not know what the outcome is going to be, right? So kudos to everybody alive in the NBA and NHL playoffs. Let's talk about some sneakers really quick, Gabby. Since we're talking NBA, let's stay on this kicker. So we talk about signature shoes a lot and signature athletes and brands doing that. Luke obviously has his signature shoe with Jordan Brand, Zion, those LeBrons, KDs, all that. But I think many people know that the Kyries are the most popular selling Nike signature basketball shoe, and it has been for quite a number of years now. It's just a very consistent shoe. The price point is always pretty affordable, right? That shoe often always comes out at the 120 mark or 95, not at the 150, 175, 220 mark. I don't think I've ever recall seeing one at that high. Maybe there was, but I can't remember. And there was a report from ESPN that came out in the last couple of weeks that when Kyrie's deal ends with signature shoe line with Nike ends, which I think is going to be at the end of this calendar year, they are not renewing. Now, Nike, when reached out for comment, they did their standard thing, which is we don't talk about athletes under contract, blah, blah, blah. We don't respond to rumors, yada, yada, whatever. And I find it interesting, right? First, when you heard that news, what did you think of Nike being the potential story that Nike may not renew his contract?
I mean, I was a little bit surprised by this. I think just, as someone who had been a Kyrie fan for so long, he just is so
polarizing.
Yes, but like just inconsistent. He's like consistent with being inconsistent lately. And I think, Nike, they're the masterminds over there are always looking at like risk and liability and what that looks like for the overall brand. And then obviously performance is a piece of it. And like we talk a lot about fashion versus function, right? And I think, there's a level of fashionability in the shoes, but a lot of them are like more still athletic shoes, right? Like you're not necessarily going to put on a suit with a pair of Kyrie's, but
Mm-hmm.
I think all those factors probably came into play with that decision, right? It's like, I feel like Nike's in a place where, and even just basketball sneakers in general, ready for that next generation, right? That new look, that fresh start. I think even some of the silhouettes are starting to meld together. I have a
Mm-hmm.
friend, also known as Jarod's nemesis, Ellen, sent a pair of LeBrons, and I had to do a double take. And I was like, these kind of look like KD mids. And they were LeBrons, like in a new, different colorway. I know that they're trying to expand and really like put support behind this LeBron franchise. And I think
Right.
part of that is because Michael Jordan, LeBron, and I have all the things to say about LeBron, but he is a survivor. He's been in this league for a long time, and he's been a force in this league for a long time. And I know that it's always a struggle to try to identify who is the next person, the next player to fill those shoes. And they've been a lot of people trying to fill shoes. They've been a lot of people busting out of their shoes, and nothing has really kind of stuck since then. So it's almost like,
Yeah.
do we invest in our long-term plan here
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
round two and then kind of clean house and see what's next? Like I'd be very curious to see after this what some of those other franchises with Nike and player shoes are going to look like in the coming years.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I looked at it like, because even though Kyrie was, as you said, inconsistent in terms of his playing time last year with the whole vaccine stuff, I don't need to get into that, but the shoe still sold well, regardless of him
Yeah,
not being on the court. And I'm just wondering if Nike's kind of just like, yeah, but it's the free eyeballs we get with you being, and you're not doing it. And so, the math that the calculus we're doing, and it's not worth it, right? And he isn't getting paid the level of money that LeBron and KD
of
are getting
course.
paid, but are they looking at it like, yeah, but you're not even on the floor, and not enough guys in the league wear your shoes, like. And then, of course, there was that Kyrie 8 images that leaked, and Kyrie literally said, "I didn't approve this. I don't know what they're doing over there at Nike." Like, and I'm just kind of like, "All right, bro."
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
There's a lot of polarizing personality factors
yeah,
that I'm sure it's a cocktail of things. Like I don't think it's one
right,
pinpoint year, but I do think that's exacerbated by the fact that the contract is coming up, and it's like,
yeah,
do we re-up and renew, or do we just kind of move on?
right, and yeah, they probably have to look at it as like, is the juice worth the squeeze for them, right? Like, do we make enough money off of this basketball line to deal with what we have to deal with on the other end? And that's a question that they'll have to answer. It'll be interesting to see. The other thing about Kyrie is that you know he's a very difficult person to figure out, right? Everybody's trying to figure out, well, what is your end game? What is the, and I don't even know if he knows what the end game is, right? And I think ultimately that sort of uncertainty, right, is like, damn, we don't even know. I mean, would it surprise you if like Kyrie all of a sudden announced he's retiring? Like you wouldn't
Nope.
be shocked, right? Like it's just sort of, that's the thing. It's like it's all of those kinds of things where you're like, man, I don't know, right? And so again, interesting to see what Nike does here, and the larger conversation about sneaker companies and their signature athletes. You know, one of the things that I always think about with NBA players, and this is specifically what we're talking about here, they have a lot of endorsements, right? So the team pays them, right? The Nike or Under Armour or Adidas or whoever pays them, they got their other endorsements as well. If I were to ask you, and you said, okay, this person's got 5 different endorsers that pay them tons of money. If they had to pick one as like who their boss is or who they listen to, who would you say would be that person, that company, that brand?
I mean, I think right now it's Nike.
Yeah, and so it gets, so my
To
point
me,
being
it's
is
no
like,
brainer. Yeah.
whoever pays them the most is their boss, right? And for many of these people, right, the shoe dollars are the bigger contracts, right? Like particularly if you are of the LeBron, Kevin Durant ilk, right? Because you're talking 200, 300, sometimes $400 million contracts, right?
Multi-year deals.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
So in essence, those are their bosses, right? More so than the Lakers or the Nets or whatever team they're on at the present time, right? And so there is always this interesting push pull between what I'm doing versus, well, what does the brand really want me to do in terms of where I'm going? It's just something that's interesting to think about, people, when you think about sneakers and what the influence the brands have over your favorite NBA players. And again, not your run of the mill, but like your elite top end guys who they pay a ton of money to. All that stuff's very fascinating.
Yeah, I think to that point, Jay, and I want this to segue kind of into our next topic. I feel like we're probably on the same page here. When you talk about athletes and sneaker brands, I think something that I've been really, really keen on and watching is, I think when when Kawhi started partnering with New Balance, there was a lot of chatter around that. Like, what's going on? Weird, kind of like a weird, quirky brand that's like trying to make a comeback at the time when that was first announced a couple years ago. And Kawhi is like kind of a weird dude, like might be an alien, might be a robot, might just be a weird dude. We don't really know. I am here for it. I am a big Kawhi fan, and I think that the Joe Freshgoods, his voices coming out really lent itself well to that. And I think the way that they integrated
Kawhi. Too many Ks.
Kyrie on the brain, jet lag, you guys. With Kawhi, the way that he was integrated into that ad, the commercial spot, that you guys probably saw all over social media, it integrated the fashion piece and kind of the lifestyle and the culture with the sports. The way that all intersected together to me was really beautiful. And we can share that clip with you guys on our social media just as a refresher. But I think to me, watching brands like that, and it's like, who do you work for? What is bigger than basketball? Like bigger than the NBA? To me, that says that was like an impactful statement. It wasn't just about sneakers. It wasn't just about a contract. And I think the way that they intersected all of the different facets of that with an athlete was really beautiful. So I'm really intrigued to see kind of if that becomes the new wave and new direction that brands are working with talent, that it feels more integrated, that it's a more lifestyle approach. It's not just like, great, like it wasn't Kawhi playing basketball in his like New Balance fit. Like, cool, right. We see him play basketball. We know he's fucking great at it. We know he can rock like a sweatsuit that's New Balance and also look pretty fly, even like pretty fly for a weird guy. You know what I'm saying? But the way that was a step in a different direction, to me signifies the changing of the tides, where brands are now being impactful off the field and off the court.
I think to your point, to follow up on that, it's, what can we do with the signature athlete plus somebody else, right? So I love that Kawhi and Joe Fresh, right? Like sort of like connection. Do we, again, to your point, are we going to see more of that? And I think maybe not necessarily so much with the established guys, although they've done some stuff with the newer guys that are coming in with their sneakers. Is that going to be, some kind of partnership? They work that way, killing two birds with one stone as the brands do, right? Instead of, the money we spend for designer X and then it's like, well, how about we just combine them together? And it's got to be something where they both merge, right? Where the designer vibes with the athlete vibes with the designer, and vice versa. But I think we're definitely going to be on our way to seeing that. Sticking on the realm of basketball, yes, it is W season, so basketball won't go away when the NBA playoffs end. There will be W basketball. You know what I find so interesting about the WNBA, Gabby, is that sometimes I try to find some information about it, and I'm like, damn, why the hell can't I find what I'm looking for right now? And of course, that's because we need more people covering the W. We need more outlets to take it seriously. We need it to be on mainstream ESPN platforms and all that. And the incident I'm speaking about specifically is that I wanted a little bit more detail on this Phoenix Mercury, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and Diana Taurasi dust-up that happened on the bench in their recent game against the Las Vegas Aces. And all I could see from most outlets was, a little dust-up. I'm like, I know it was a dust-up. I saw that. Anybody got any beat reporters out there? Got any behind-the-scenes stories? I mean, think about it, right? Those are some of the things that get interest in the NBA, right? When beat reporters break these kinds of off the field things, right? Sell the game. The game matters, but sell the other stuff too, right? To draw interest in the game. I just thought it was, because I was looking for something for that. And then I was just looking for just normal stuff on the Aces and what Becky Hammond's saying about her new job as head coach and yada, yada. And it just took time and work to find it. And I'm like, why is it so difficult?
You have to, Skylar, dig for some of that information. But I also think I am so jet lagged right now that I thought you said beef reporters instead of beat reporters. For those who aren't as familiar, beat reporters cover certain topics. Beef reporters might be more on the food genre or the World Star Instagram specifically. But I mean, that's the thing about the W, right? And I think the more and more I've been ingrained with the WNBA over the years, right? Like from working with the Liberty to doing some projects with the Connecticut Sun. And I was at the LA Sparks home opener
You are.
this past week. And the W has so much potential if it was just marketed or supported right. And I think, you know, I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but I think I wish the NBA put more support behind it across the board, right? And I think during the pandemic, when the bubble and the wobble were happening around the same time, all of a sudden you started seeing WNBA on mainstream media, and it was really beautiful. People were talking about it. I think the W even led the NBA in social conversation when it comes to activism, which was like amazing. Like love seeing the ladies do that, especially with like the 50th anniversary of Title IX. You know, the Connecticut Sun are in their 20th season. It's a big year for a lot of teams, and it's still impossible to find things out, to be able to watch, to be able to get involved. And it feels like, I don't know why there is such a firewall against the W. I mean, like I've started seeing a little bit, like I love when NBA Fit starts posting like the ladies fits, because like they're coming through the tunnel as well, right? And like at the Sparks game, you had Magic, you had Taco, you had Mello, you had Lisa fucking Leslie, all courtside. Baron Davis didn't get as much coverage. It's okay. I appreciated you, Steve Davis, over there with my girl Casey, you know, and there's a lot of people that are following along. It's a great presentation. It's a great show. The girls are amazing to watch. Nobody talks about the amount of skill that goes into it. And like, I don't know. I mean, even when it comes to merch, right? Like in a town that's as big as LA, when it comes to sports, specifically basketball, right? It's obviously it's Laker Nation all the time. Like, sorry, Clippers, like let's call a spade a spade. I have respect for the Clippers too. Like it's like a giant
what it is.
in LA. Yeah, exactly. But I think like the fact that the Lakers and the Sparks are the same color in terms of uniform. Why can't they just, like, you got partnerships with Mitchell and Ness, you got partnerships with Starter, you got all these other collabs and partnerships with everything. Why can't they just slap a Sparks logo on instead on like a Starter jacket? Like I'm gonna make my own, and I'm gonna make a statement in my own LA Sparks satin bomber jacket. Y'all better believe it. Like the merchandise is trash, and like for it being like more than 20 years.
Like
come on, we could be doing better. The fact that there has not been a signature shoe, that Lisa Leslie is a fucking legend, and like to the point where like you have major NBA players, like there should be NBA players at every game. So like I loved seeing that turnout in LA. Like NBA, give tickets to the teams when they're not in season. Like the Liberty game should have Brooklyn Nets. I mean, maybe not the Knicks because it's Brooklyn sports and it's at Barclays Center. So I get that. But there should be the Long Island Nets G League players and Brooklyn Nets there at every single game.
I'm with you on that.
Tickets are free. It's a low lift, but it also just shows how low of a priority it is for the NBA. Like, support your girls, support your women. Like that's what I want to see this season more than anything else.
Support the W. Let's see, because you know the ladies support the guys. So let's do it. You know, all that camaraderie the Olympic teams build with each other, because you often hear it, like when the men's and women's Olympic basketball teams are in whatever city they're in for the Olympics. You always hear the stories about them having so much fun together, just like talking ball. Because at the end of the day, they're all hoopers, right? All of them, and they love ball. And it's like, all right, well, let's capitalize on that, right? Like, let's get out there and make sure that like the support's there, the W's getting the support it needs. So many good players all over the W. You know, Ryan Howard, rookie for the Atlanta Dream, she's killing right now. Like, there's just so many amazing, talented ladies playing hoop. Guys, get out there, check it out, support the W, do your thing. All right, folks. That was another rousing episode of the Kicks and Shit Show. Gabs, I'm so happy that you got this little Uncut
Jarod.
That you got this little sound effect. It's so funny. I don't know why I find it so hilarious. It just is.
Don't get gas. That's all I have to say.
Oh, that's it.
Cypher, don't get gas.
Yep. Cypher, don't get gas. Correct.
All the sound effects, y'all. All of them.
Oh, listen, I might just play all the sound effects.
Uncut Jarod.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Uncut Jarod.
Uncut Jams. It's just
Yeah, really fun to get it edited, huh?
Well, so it came from so what that the question was about her being a muse for Kanye at the time they were dating, and then she said, "Well, as also the muse for the director for
Uncut Gems.
right? Yes, and that is yes, and that is where that came from. So hilarious! What a world! What a time! Anyway, folks,
Time.
as always, you know we are part of that Count the Things family. You can find us with the original Bomb Show, Woke Bros, Crypto Bros. They're doing a new television recap series on We Own the City, the new Baltimore HBO series from the creators of The Wire. All types of good stuff happening out here. And as always, you know where to find us. We are at Kicks and Shit Show on all social media platforms. Until next time, peace.